Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to cover 4 really important exercises for dramatically improving your balance and making your game better than ever, even if you currently don't have one. These 4 exercises are pivotal in more ways than one, so make sure you stay to the very end because you don't want to miss out on all the nitty-gritty, powerful details. In my opening, I used the word pivotal, and it wasn't by accident. Pivotal is key. When we think of pivoting, when we think of moving our feet, of turning our body, of turning our hips, of turning our foot or knee or hip, moving our shoulders, all of that is part of balance. When people walk, most of the time they never have to pivot in any way, shape, or form. And when people get older and they do need to pivot and the body lacks the spiraling mobility that's necessary, this is where you get injuries, not injures. All right, so what we do here, this very first exercise is, regardless of your current level, you're going to find this huge. What we're going to do is get inside this hip socket, my left hip socket, and I'm going to turn it toward my right foot, toward my big toe on my right foot. Then I'm going to turn the right hip toward the left big toe, and I'm going to keep moving this way. When you're standing in line in the grocery or at the bank or you're at the post office, wherever you are standing in line, you can be doing this exercise. You don't need to squat low. You can be standing with your knees slightly bent, and as you're doing so, it looks as though you're beating to a different type of drum than everyone else is just. So pivot the hip, corkscrew the hip. And as you do this the first time, you pivot and you feel the connection through the foot that the hip pivoted. This case, it's the right hip. So I pivoted with the right hip. I feel the connection through the foot. You got to feel connection to have balance. The energy then transfers over through the pelvic diaphragm into the left hip and goes down into the ground on this side. Then I relax and I pivot the other way. I relax and I pivot. But you really, in the beginning, want to go slowly and feel the connection. Super, super slow. Feel everything going on inside the body. You can do hundreds of these a day. For your hip health, it's huge. It's absolutely gargantuan. Get the hips in action. Move. You can go at this speed once you're used to it, but in the beginning, super, super slow. Why? Once again, to feel the connections. The second exercise is to lower your level just a little bit. Bend your knees back fairly straight, and then move your right foot over to where your left is. There's actually a couple parts to this exercise, so just get the hang of moving one foot close to the other. Left toward the right, right toward the left, and then back out. Your heel will come off the ground somewhat when you do this. If you really have balance problems and you need to drag the whole foot, that's fine too. Start where you are, but as you get better, it's lighter and lighter. This is the first part of exercise number 2. The second part is where it gets tricky. You bring the foot over, and then now you put it in front of the back foot. Your heel is in front of your big toe on the back foot. Then you pull the foot back, move it over, move the left foot, put that in front, and hold, and then back, and then out. Move in front, hold for 5 seconds, and then move it out. Move in front. Let it rest. Move it back out. Another level of this is to lift your foot off the ground and bend the knee toward the other leg. Lift. Now you put it down. And after you put it down, you hold for 30 seconds. If you hold with your eyes closed, it's even harder. So just start with holding for 30 seconds with your eyes open. Lift the other foot, put it in front, and hold for 30. Sink your weight on the back leg, and then you put it back. That is exercise numero dos. The third exercise is fairly simple in terms of explaining. Stand on one leg. Well, technically, you've already been doing that if you got to this level and then put one leg down. You've already been standing on one leg, you just didn't stand very long. What we're going to do now, though, is we're going to corkscrew with the body first. And as I'm corkscrewing, I'm working on bringing one leg up. So in Tai Chi, we do it this way, boom, and then you come up. So for our purposes, we'll just corkscrew with the left hip. You can move your arm, and then corkscrew with the right hip. As you do that, you bring your right hand up with the right foot and knee. Knee up as high as you can. If you have to start here, that's fine. If you have to start with the toe down, that's fine. Start where you are and get better. Boom. And then now extend the other hand, put it by your ear, it's palm up. Bring your toes up. Don't let them sag this way. Bring them up and then hold that position and then put the foot down. Now we corkscrew with the left side. Left hand is coming up with it. Bring the toes up, lift the knee. Got my hand by my ear. And the reason I'm flexing the foot up is it engages the fascia and the tendons so that I can maintain my balance. It's much harder to maintain your balance if your foot is just dangling and limp. So you want to increase the connectivity in the body, as we did with the very first exercise. So now we're really connecting and coming up, connecting, coming up. You can do this one after the other with very little rest, but ideally you want to be able to hold for 3 inhales and exhales minimum. 1, 2, 3, and then down. Then repeat on the other side. The next exercise is a butt kicker. Exercise 4, I'm going to give to you in 2 parts for some obvious reasons if you don't have good balance currently. The first is with your feet fairly close together. You can put your left hand on your left hip. You just start raising the right leg. You can have both hands on your hips, in fact. If this is problematic, you can put your hand on a wall or on a chair and just start to lift. Once you can do it without the wall, then you start to lift. And relax and breathe every time you lift. You can also let this hand drop and touch your foot as you lift. And then you go to the other side, same thing. That's part 1 in 2 parts. 1, holding onto a wall or a chair for balance, and then lifting your legs sideways. After you can do this, now we got to go sumo. You spread your feet fairly wide, wider than shoulder width, ideally, or just about shoulder width. And then you squat your buttocks down. You can rest your hands above your knees. Then what you're going to do is you're going to have that spiraling motion again from the left hip. I don't just bring my foot in. I spiral it in. And I'm touching my toes, my heels off the ground. From here, up and then down. Then I come in with the other foot, up and down. You don't need to slam your foot on the ground the way they do in sumo. Just do it lightly. Just put your foot down lightly. But again, my butt's down. As my butt is down, I pull my foot in. To pull my foot in, I spiral it, the hip slightly. So it's not just that, it's this. Then up, down. And then the other side. Down. You can hold it, the leg in the air, for a second or two if you want, and see how your balance is. Then you go the other side. Or you can just put it down. And in between, you can squat down, move around, turn from the hips, spiraling. This is a bonus exercise. Note how I'm pushing off the ground as I spiral. I'm pushing off, so I'm activating all the tissues in the body.